nervous, Steve?
No.
Here we go.
You
We're back
nervous,
live.
Steve?
This is
Hi.
a completely different face now here.
This is live.
This is live, yeah. We're broadcasting to the Brianna behind the camera.
To the world.
Yeah.
Very
Welcome
good.
back.
Thank you. Great to be here.
It's been, I think, about, Steve-O, when was the last time we ran the podcast?
Oh, man, 6 months ago?
No.
I'd say
it's
more
like
than
a
that.
year. Yeah, it's been like a year. I always said it was going on hiatus. I never wanted to kind of put it away. But we're going to be giving away something free today. Yeah.
What are we giving away?
What do you want to give away?
Well,
So you're going to throw that right in there.
how about an Apple MacBook Air?
Why do you want to give away a MacBook Air?
I don't know. It
Yeah.
seems like somebody would want that.
Okay, for everybody listening, this is Jake Carney, and we're actually renaming the show, right, Steve? They have a logo and everything. It's gonna be called the Jake Carney Show. So pretentious.
Steve's the producer.
The Jake Carney Show.
I think it's a great name. I think it's, I really do. I think it flows off the tongue.
And that beautiful, beautiful, angelic voice you hear right now is Matt DeLando.
Hello, hello. Thank you.
Matt joined us full time to be a podcaster.
Yeah, podcasting is something that I really enjoy. So I'm glad to be here today
passionate
with you.
about it.
Yeah.
Yes. So I think we should actually get. Do you really want to give away MacBook Air?
No, we don't have one to give away, but hypothetically, we could draw some cards.
I think we should give away. What was one of our best giveaways last time? Before we get into all of our heavy duty, a Berkey. Berkeys are cool.
Berkeys are cool.
Do you know what a Berkey is?
It's right there.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful water filter.
You know what?
Talk about why people really need one.
Yeah, that's actually good. We'll do very good, Steve-O. We'll do a Berkey water filter. We're gonna give away one
That's a
Berkey
great-
water filter
that's a great
today.
idea.
We'll tell you how you can actually win it later. There's obviously a lot of natural disasters happening, and it's actually really good because technically you could pee in there. You can actually urinate in there, and it will strain it out and give you pull your water out, and you can drink it.
Have you tried that?
Little bit. Just a little old man pee at night, and
Oh, boy.
waited years for it to come back out.
Oh, boy.
But it is, if you do have a pool in your backyard that's got chlorine in there, it will pull the chlorine out. So
Will it really?
yeah.
Have you tested that?
Nope, absolutely not.
Perfect,
Sucker for
perfect.
marketing here.
So we're looking for somebody to test that, take pictures, send it in.
I have tested it with the chlorine. It's actually funny. What I'll do, I don't know if you've done this. You have a pool in your backyard.
I do.
Do you ever test your chlorine and pH levels?
I don't.
So you should, because do you have a tester? They're like $6 at
I
Home
don't.
Depot. Do you have a pool guy?
I do.
Okay.
I'd like to fire him, though,
So what I actually have
because
done,
it looks quite easy to test chlorine.
it's not hard. What I actually do is I'll test my pool water. I have a saltwater pool. It's still chlorine in there because it converts the salt into chlorine. But I've actually tested the salt water, the chlorine in my pool against the water in the tap water, and I've actually found there's more chlorine in my tap water than there is in the pool.
Wow, that's actually really upsetting to hear.
It is. And so that's why when we drink all of our water,
Is there an effect when you take showers with that much chlorine hitting your body, or is it?
Well, yeah, because you're heating it up, so it's actually steaming, and so you're breathing it. I mean, I've only have 3 testicles now, not 2.
Okay,
so
perfect.
You're fine. No, it's it's something to be cognizant of. There's a lot of people that are super worried about that. You can get an actual shower filter if you want.
Sure.
I'm
No,
not
I
that
won't do
kind
that.
of
No,
crazy about it. So, but anyways, so you can use the Berkey. The Berkey actually makes a shower filter. But anyways, what I was getting to was the amount of chlorine in my tap water was higher than was in the pool, and so
That's incredible.
so that's why I actually do use a Berkey, especially with having kids around. That it actually can pull it out. So I don't want to drink chlorine.
How many gallons does that thing hold?
So the one that we'll be giving away free, Steven's giving me the don't tell him yet. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
This
It looks
one
like
I think
it
in the
holds
office
a couple
is,
gallons.
That's 5
at
gallons.
least. That's 5 gallons.
That's a 5
Okay,
gallon.
so I'm bad at math.
Yeah.
Very good.
So we'll give away, I think it's a 2-gallon one that we'll give away.
Nice.
Something like that. We'll figure it out. But yeah, so we'll tell you later on the show how you can actually win that Berkey.
Beautiful.
Do we have a URL for this site yet, for this page yet, Steven? No. It's all going to be housed in the Alternative Daily. We're shooting from the hip today.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Are you going to have it on jakecarney.com later at some point? What I was thinking was we should have a page where people go to so they can easily enter to win, right?
We'll let them know in episode 2.
Episode 2, cliffhanger.
I like that.
All right. Well, this has been fun. Good show. Thanks.
Suspenseful. All right, guys. Thanks.
So as I said, we have a new face here with Matt DeLando.
Pleasure to be here.
Megan, who everybody loved, she may stop by at some point, but we're gonna try and do this a couple times a week. They're threatening me with doing this daily. You have not committed to daily yet.
Daily's too much.
Daily's too much for you, too much for the show.
Too much for me. Too much for
PJ.
the people.
PJ, do you think daily is too much or what?
Daily is great.
Let's try this. We're trying new things. I can't even get you to go to 3. I don't know.
Testing.
Yep, we're working out the stuff here. Just is daily too much?
Daily's not enough. Actually,
Daily is not enough.
yeah. Let's go twice daily.
Twice
Twice.
daily.
I don't mind that, like a morning update and an afternoon
Overachiever.
update. Man, I don't think that you can go to another channel while it's recording. So
Really?
yeah, you might want to look that up while we're doing this. But anyways, we're working out the kinks here. Episode, do we say it's like episode like 36 of our old one or episode 1?
Yeah, right now it would be, I think, episode 36.
Okay, so episode 36/1, working the kinks out. This is gonna be fun, I promise you.
I know it is.
So hot topics, everything that happened this weekend.
Oh my.
Oh my, your president that you voted for. This is cool.
That's what we're doing right away.
You're
Okay.
just gonna toss in that grenade, like a good Thanksgiving
Perfect.
meal when that crazy uncle, when you kind of just say, "Hey, crazy election we just had. All right, enjoy the turkey." No, I think that's actually why this is a good balance for the show, because you and I have we have different policy visions for things. We can agree on things, we can disagree on things, which I think is really good when you're having certain discussions, whether it be political or certain things. It's good to always understand what's going on from the other side. Which I'm actually going to get into one of the topics, which is actually choir preaching. And the reason why I bring up choir preaching is I see a lot of my friends, family, everybody on Facebook, and you might see this too. Actually, you're not on social media, but you might see this when not on social media, but maybe around the dinner table at the local Italian restaurant that you guys like. when you're sitting there saying how you feel about certain positions, certain things that your president Trump has done, and you're saying like, I don't like that he took the knee, and everybody's like, yeah, we don't like it either, and then you just start just like, yeah, blah blah blah.
Steamroll.
Nothing gets accomplished by that. And so you and I had lunch yesterday, and then when we were going through the kind of like the test of this podcast yesterday, we were going through kind of like our different thoughts and processes on that. And I think that was actually really good, because you come from a different background. I come from a different background. Brianna comes from a different background. We all come from a different background, and we all have different ideas on this thing. So if we were just all had the same idea, it would be frankly boring, and we would never get anything done. So what you need to do, what I actually really enjoy, is having a nice cordial debate of ideas, because there's definitely things that you and I said at lunch where you even said, I never thought about it that way, and I appreciate you saying that up. And the same thing with you to me. Like, I learned more about your upbringing yesterday, because you never call me to go out to do dinner, just us and just talk. But you never,
Which is good.
yeah, probably. But I got to learn a little bit more of your upbringing and why you think that way. And so by coming together with those ideas is really good, as opposed to when I see people on Facebook or Twitter and they're just saying, and all of their followers and all of their friends and all their family members have the same ideas, and you're just trying to spit the same thing to all those people, and you're just looking for the pat on the back. Nothing happens. Do you see that? Do you see that in your social realm, in your family realm, in your friend realm?
Absolutely. I mean, I like to think that I hang out with a diverse crowd of thinkers, but I do see that very often. I am very much for productive talk. I do like to hear people's opinions. I do like to understand how people come to the conclusion about why they feel the way that they do. The problem is with Mr. Trump. He is a bit polarizing. I'm not sure if anybody's aware.
Oh, no. Great unifier.
Yeah. So he does bring out a special extra level of aggression when having some of these conversations and some of these topics that I'm sure we'll hit on today. People have strong feelings.
Can we talk about that, if you've met him or not? Can we talk about that, or would you like to go to the next topic?
Your show, Mr. Carney.
So you've actually met him, a few times. What was your initial reaction, your initial take?
I thought that he's definitely got an air about him, or an aura, if you will.
Yep.
A very respected man, obviously, in the business circle, social circles, in various places.
Sure, like if you're running a business, or if you are part of a business that wants to do business with it, like you can make a lot of money. You can get a lot of business done if you kind of play that game. That works. There's nothing wrong with that. It's when you kind of bring that to running a country is where it gets a little bit different. But obviously, when you've met him and everything, is it your typical kind of like super high successful CEO? It's just kind of, hey, how you doing? A slap on the ass and let's go make some money type of thing.
Yep. No slaps on the ass were given.
I don't think he has a butt. I don't think he has a butt.
No, yeah, he's definitely definitely very impressive in person.
Does he have that? Because you've also met Bill Clinton. Does he have that similar charisma?
There is no one person in the world like Bill Clinton that I've met personally, and I haven't met that many people, but there's something about him when he walks in a room where you just want to go stand up next to him.
Really?
And just
you got that from him?
Absolutely. And Bill Clinton was a great president. Obviously, he had his extracurricular activities that not all of us agree with. But he demands a presence that I've never seen before. Trump is very impressive, but
let me extrapolate that
very
Bill
different
Clinton
with
thing
Clinton.
real quick, because you obviously are more of a conservative type of voter. If I were to see somebody like a Mike Huckabee enter the room, or like a Joe Walsh, or some of these like other like kind of other conservative types of folks, like I don't think I would get the feeling of like I want to go stand over them. So somebody that has like a different policy mindset to you, and you're like like I want to go talk to this. Like, what was it about?
I don't really know. I can't really tell you. It's just, what it was actually. It was he kind of walked around and spoke to everybody. There was 200 people there, but it seemed like when you had that 2 minutes with Bill, he was
present.
He was present, and he wanted to know about you. And it was it's unique in this day and age with our phones and social media, that not everybody really wants to just kind of look face to face and kind of talk through stuff. So very impressive, most impressive person I've ever met.
Now, how does that compare to President Trump, who you've also met, in terms of? Is it charisma, but on a different scale of charisma, or is it just more of just like big shot type of charisma?
I think that's a very informal but great way to put it. It's a very big shot businessman. Like, I'm here, I demand attention. I'm here, I'm number one, and that's it. But you know what? There is a very cool aura about that too.
Of course.
So I have nothing bad to say about any of those men. Both very impressive, equally in their own nature.
Interesting. So when it comes down to the choir preaching in your social circles,
so since I'm a Trump voter,
yes.
What about you, Mr. Carney?
I'm a registered independent in the state of Florida.
Oh, same here.
Yes, and so I didn't actually get to vote in the primaries. I actually tried to go vote in the primaries. I would have cast a vote begrudgingly for Mr. Bernie Sanders, but as I showed up, they turned me away from the primary voting booth, because in the state of Florida, you cannot vote in a primary if you're an independent. If you're asking where did my vote go for the general election, it did go for Mrs. Hillary Clinton.
Very good.
I thought there was something cool about voting for a woman president at the time. I agree with I get a lot of pushback on this. She was a qualified candidate, but she was not the best candidate. She's just there was definitely flaws there, and a lot of people think that's very sexist because it's a woman. Because you obviously have Donald Trump, who had a lot of flaws. Of course he did, right? But the bottom line is she couldn't pull it out in the fourth quarter. She couldn't pull it out. You could argue she had all the different things in terms of Comey and all the different the email things, which I think were stupid. But she couldn't pull it out in the fourth quarter. So,
hold on a second.
Yes.
I don't want to go too far down this rabbit hole.
I like,
but when you say it was stupid, what does that mean?
I like how you did that.
The James Comey emails. Why is it stupid?
Because I think previously the destroying of the emails, which elected officials have done, presidents have done. There's even stuff with George W. doing it. You destroy certain things because you need to get it out there, and it's confidential. The way that I see it, if you're I don't know if she was using a server in a basement or a Gmail. Right. You know what? And in this day and age, and our phones and everything that's going on, it's kind of, it can get mixed up if I'm sending it from jac36@gmail.com versus
everybody write that down at home.
whitehouse.gov. But at the time of this discussion we're having right now, we're seeing the same thing happen with Jared Kushner and Ivanka Trump of using personal email. I think that's stupid too. It's just email. And again, I'm not running for any type of office. I'm not running the government, and I get how it's important to have those types of records. there's bigger fish to fry for me than emails.
Okay, fair
That's why I
enough.
think
That's
it's
a
stupid.
it's a pretty good response to that question.
Well, thank you. You want to wrap it now?
Yeah. So I don't like it. No, I'm kidding.
So in terms of the choir preacher, so back to this, like, do you see it in your social circles? Do you see it in your family circles? Just kind of like the agreeing to agree with, and just kind of, as you said, just keep on jumping onto the topic and beating that dead horse.
Yeah, I think there's, I definitely think that people are easily influenced these days, and I do think that when somebody that you like or you appreciate puts together a well thought out response to one of these hot topics, I think that you're inclined, just because of your relationship nature, to kind of agree with them and jump on that bandwagon and just kind of bash. I think one of the problems I have with it is that it also lends itself to a very surface level conversation. A lot of these people that have these feelings can't really delve into the facts and the issues at hand in a very well thought out way. So I do definitely see some bandwagon jumping, but
because it's fun, it's easy to do.
It's easy, and it's camaraderie. It's like anything else,
but it's
right?
not accomplishing anything. And so the way to get things done is to have that healthy debate where you learn from the other side.
Correct.
It's truly and again, I don't like to say that. I don't want to go spend time in Alabama in somebody's house with rebel flags and everything in it. But on the flip side, I also need to understand where they're coming from and why they're voting a certain way and why they've felt lost and why Donald Trump's rhetoric is actually appealing to them. If you were to ask them 6 or 7 years ago, would they have voted for Donald Trump? You're going to get a hard no. Like, of course, he's this New York businessman.
Listen, we as a people that voted for Mr. Trump, they voted to blow up the system. That's what they voted for. And guess what? They're getting that. Yeah. Some people probably have some buyer's remorse out there.
I think some people do. And I think I even say I kind of liked a little bit of the blowing up the system. Again, it's easy to say you're anti-establishment, because if you're anti-establishment, you really do want to blow the whole thing up. But I did like a little bit that he was mixing it up, and it was kind of a little. You didn't get the typical politician type of answer. I got that, and I appreciated it.
It resonated with people.
But there was obviously some of that banter that I didn't like, and that resonated with some people. And so if I do think some good could come out of this, I think that you can say, we don't have to do it as we've done it the past, 150 years and talked a certain way and actually get some policy done. The problem is he's not getting any of his stuff done. He's all talk. Yeah. Which brings us into what happened this weekend, which was you have all the stuff going on with North Korea. By the way, this is not going to be just a straight politics show, but hey, this just happens to be
good start, though.
A good start. All the stuff going on in North Korea. Yeah. And Puerto Rico was just hit by a massive storm that 100% of their electricity was out. And we're talking about kneeling for the national anthem. And we're calling players that kneel sons of bitches. And we're calling out NBA players for not showing up to the White House. And we're getting into this back and forth type of banter when really, and I'm sure that you feel this, we've talked about this before, and we don't have to get into the whole kneeling thing. I mean, we can if we want. But with all of that going on, there's major ordeals. The Puerto Rico is a territory of the United States. They need help. This guy in North Korea is a Looney Tune, and we need to kind of keep our eye on there. Why are we focusing so much on the whole kneeling for the Star Spangled Banner?
I did see something yesterday, and I don't know where exactly I read it, but there was. I don't know if it was fake news, if you will. I hate spread. By the way, I hate spreading that fake news terminology. It really bothers me. There's really no good investigative reporting anymore. It just is what it is. Having said that,
PJ's pretty good at it.
No, that is true. That is true.
Thank you, PJ.
But long story short, I read something that they're not sending any relief down there until October 1st. I'm not sure if that's true, because then I've also heard that
I checked it this morning. So there is there's 700 FEMA officials down there now, and they've also sent 10,000 staff members, people that are there now, and they have been bringing water and food and supply. However, as we just put up, PJ actually wrote. No, sorry, PJ, it wasn't you. Here's the problem, and this is really interesting because Puerto Rico is part of the United States, right?
Territory.
However, if they don't get more attention to the infrastructure and a truly kind of, this is an emergency of epic proportions, those, how many people do we have there? 3.4 million residents. Guess where they have to go? Here, right? And so we're all concerned about immigration and an influx of people and everything like that. It could come from somewhere else. It could come from Puerto Rico, because if there's no place to live, those people will come here. They're going to come to Miami. They're going to come to Texas. They're coming to all these different places. I'm not saying that's bad nor good. I'm just saying from a more conservative side, when you're saying how many people should we let in? Well, technically, I know that they're part of our country, but you're getting an influx of 3 million people if you can't restore power and can't restore life there. So why are we talking about LeBron James and Steph Curry and not about how to keep these people happy, healthy, and again, if Miami can't handle 3 million people coming in at once,
We can't handle much more, to be honest with you.
And you don't want those people getting in lifeboats, getting out of there too. So I think there's a tension on there. There needs to be more tension. It took him 5 days to respond to that, but you know what? If Steph Curry said something, or he just went out and cherry picked with Colin Kaepernick, that's a little bit different. That's where I actually think that is where you have his base. You have his 30%, which literally, as he said, he could go out there in Times Square and shoot somebody, and they'd still love him. That base is there. But it's people like you that voted for him. Like, all right, where's the tax reform? Where's the health care? Healthcare is not going to get passed this week, and then it's going to go to a vote where instead of getting 50 or 51 votes, it's going to have to go to 60 now. He is not getting anything passed.
No.
He's just all rhetoric, which I get it. I understood it. But when it comes to running a company, running a job, running a business, running a country, it's not going to.
I think he overstated and overestimated how difficult it is to get things done in Washington. As a businessman, specifically with a lot of money and a lot of power, you can bulldoze. You can get things done that you need to get done. We're in gridlock right now, and it's not good for the American people. It's not good for anybody. I would love to see some good tax reform put forth. Healthcare is obviously very important too. It's going to affect a lot of people. But those are my two issues that I'm looking at right now.
Why is healthcare so? Why are you interested in healthcare? We have healthcare here. We have a pretty good healthcare for the employees.
Yeah.
That they actually, I think
you guys are very kind in the sense that we pay for half of the healthcare costs.
I think we pay more than that.
Well, not everybody is doing that in private companies these days. So that is something that is very beneficial from a pass down perspective.
If you want to submit your resume here, jobs@thealternativedaily.com.
Jobs@thealternativedaily.com.
Unlimited vacation, right?
Unlimited vacation. We work for you. So we're getting off topic. Where were we? What were we talking about?
Puerto Rico. How do
Puerto
we save
Rico.
them?
So I think that Steph Curry is worried about making his infinity ads. His kids drawing things on pieces of paper. He's getting paid. He's good. He is influential. Obviously, all these guys are influential. But I think at the end of the day, if you live anywhere else, I mean, we live in Florida, right? And we were just affected by Irma. People in Texas were affected by Harvey. If you live in Colorado, in California, in Nebraska, in New York, while they may be empathetic by turning on CNN, at the end of the day, I don't think, I'm going to go with an old saying, out of sight, out of mind.
You should say because it's so far-fetched.
I think we're getting into
it's an ocean
NFL
away.
football. I think people are worried and interested in other things. We're coming into the holiday season. I'm not making any excuses.
Sure, no, I get that. And no, you're actually bringing up a reality.
I'm just being realistic.
What we were trying to talk about. It's not.
It's old news.
It's a territory. Well, hold on. It's a territory. They're not attached to the United States. You're oceans away, right? So it's not super easy to get there, right? As it would be like a Florida. And I will tell you this: when we evacuated for Hurricane Irma, we went up to Georgia. On the way up and down, we passed all of these amazing utility trucks that were coming into Florida, into Georgia, and you would see things from Indiana, Iowa. I met linemen that were right outside my house that were from Indiana, that were from Illinois, that were all from all these different places. And it actually really did bring me a sense of patriotism. It's like,
camaraderie,
wow.
absolutely.
It's awesome. It's like we're actually really rallying together to get this all stuff fixed.
I will tell you, we are very lucky.
How do you get those utility trucks to Puerto Rico?
Well, two things. Number one, we are very lucky here in the state of Florida, and I want to give a lot of credit to Governor Rick Scott. He's a phenomenal governor. He's been a phenomenal governor for a long time.
I didn't vote for him, but he did a good job.
Well, I did 2 times. But no, he's really good in the state of Florida ever since Wilma in 2005. I mean, immaculate things are done here with that storm that came through here. That was a nasty storm.
Sure.
And within 5-6 days, we're back and running.
Oh, it was amazing. I mean, I didn't lose power at my house.
It's amazing. I lost it for 24
It's
hours,
crazy.
and I
now,
thank
again, there's
the Lord.
people that did lose it for a week or two.
Right.
I get that. Steven's giving me the side eye. We did not lose power, Steven.
Yeah.
No, the oven lights did not blink. Okay.
He came home and the time was still moving.
No, we actually, and it's amazing the amount of infrastructure we have in place,
Right.
and the help that we got from all the different states.
With that said, though, you touched upon this 5 minutes ago. They sent relief down to Puerto Rico. They sent 700 or some odd female workers and things like that. Where are they? What's the status update?
Right.
What are they getting done?
Right.
Are they still without power? You're telling me 100% of the island is without power still?
As of my report, yes. Yeah.
That's incredible.
Well, think about it. You can't get utility trucks there. Like how if
Well,
the
Yeah, I mean, you can
you
big
have
boats and
do you know how
planes.
big
and-
those utility trucks are?
let me tell you something.
Helicopters you can fly in a utility truck?
You can get from
No.
you can get from Miami in a cargo ship to
Yes.
Puerto Rico.
Yes.
24 hours tops.
And I don't think that's happening in terms of getting the utility trucks on there.
Sure,
And
I
that
understand
needs to
that.
happen.
I understand.
Because if not, you have 3 million people coming into Miami. And you're going to have just an empty wasteland of cars on the side, on the highways, what Brianna said, of trying to get out of Puerto Rico to the airports. So
Wow.
I think this is a good time to bring up, speaking of that disaster, a good way to bring up the Berkey, to win the Berkey water filter. It's an amazing thing. We gave this away last time, and I think we ended up giving 3 or 4 away, and Steven's saying, just give 1 away. But the reason why we gave 3 or 4
The
away.
liberal in him.
The reason why we actually gave 3 or 4 away, and I'm not trying to pat myself on the back, but one of the ladies that actually won it, she wanted to get it for her school. And she, I think it was a kindergarten class or whatever. So we actually sent her 3 or 4 to
Very nice.
get out to the school and use them. So so the way that you can win these, we'll do it like this for now. But just email us at podcast@thealternativedaily.com. Subject line Berkey, and just leave us a comment, feedback, any question that you might have, any format that you want us to follow. Just leave us anything, and that's just going to enter you to win a Berkey water filter.
Perfect.
So podcast@thealternativedaily.com. Does that email still work? We'll figure that out. Yes.
Details,
So we had to bring this
details.
back because Patricia said that we were getting some comments that where's the podcast?
Where's the podcast?
everybody
Where's
else?
Jake?
So we're actually here in our headquarters in Juno Beach, and just wanted to bring this podcast back up. I think we have something really good going on here. We talked a little bit about the kneeling, and I want to talk about this. It was something I was listening on my. This is a tough one. I was listening on my run today, and talked about the topic of white racism. Right? We know that
You weren't kidding when you wrote that down.
no, I wasn't kidding.
Okay.
And it's something that and it has to do with the current president. And I know that some people also believe that the previous president, brought this up too. I think that the United States has a racism problem, but I think it's all countries have the racism problem. We have it really good here, right? And I think that we also need to do more of the dialogue that we're doing now. And again, this topic is just not about white racism. It's actually about other racism too. But it was a kind of
Good lead-in.
Good lead-in, yeah. Because this country was built on slavery and was built on racism. And I think that what we're going through now, and I've said this to multiple people before, is we're going through a hangover stage. So when you go out and I'll make the parallel together. If you go out and have like 6, 7 beers, 6 or 7 drinks, you're feeling good. And if you're building a country, you're holding a certain race down, but you're seeing infrastructure going up, everything's feeling good. Well, eventually shit hits the fan and starts to go downhill. So we saw that, obviously with the ending of slavery, but especially with the, with all the human rights initiatives that happened in the mid 1900s. Right. And then, everybody got equal rights, which is great. But you just can't flip a switch over like that, right? And so what we've seen for the past 50, 60, 70 years what I like to see is a little bit of a hangover of like all the shit that we did in the past is now coming back to as like a next morning, like, fuck, this doesn't feel good right now. We need to kind of figure out a way to navigate, not so much heal it or whatever. But we need to navigate how this happened. Because I actually do believe that give us another 50, 60 years, we're going to be in a way better place when it comes to racial relations. But the reason why I bring it up is because we know that there's racism against black people. We know there's racism against, Hispanic people and minorities. But there's also on the flip side, I mean, especially being a white man, I actually do believe that white privilege exists. I think that you can take that standpoint that white privilege exists, but also take the standpoint of you shouldn't be racist towards white people either because that exists. And so what I constantly see, you'll see it on social media, you'll see it everywhere, which is, and it's even kind of joking aside, like, oh my gosh, that person's so white, or like the way they dance is so white. And it's funny.
Albino.
We can laugh at it. But we also, I think in a way to heal the country, we do need to pay attention to the Black Lives Matter folk. What are they saying? Why are they saying what they're saying? Let's learn about the shoes that they grew up in. At the flip side, you know what? I am not, because I'm white, I'm not an evil person. I'm not bad. Did I probably get privilege because I was born a white man? Probably. At some point. But don't hate me for it. And I think that has actually drawn a little bit of division in the country, which is, I think it's okay to take the stand of, yes, there is white privilege, but there's also white racism too. And so, and I think if you take that stance, if you think more about that, it would actually start a dialogue better with other folks. And I'm not saying go out there and holding up a flag and saying everybody's racist towards white people. That's not a good idea, right? But just being sympathetic to the fact that there is white privilege, but then it also is, hey, just because I'm a white man, I'm not the worst person in the world, right? And so that's something that I was thinking about today on my run, listening to different talks and arguments, etc.
What podcast was that?
So I listened to a variety of them. Part of this was Howard Stern. I'm a big Howard Stern listener.
Very good. Jerry Seinfeld yesterday, phenomenal.
Yeah, and Joe Buck today.
Oh.
And
Again,
then,
Joe Buck.
Yeah.
New Joe Buck.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah. But then again,
a lot of respect for Joe Buck. I got to tell you, didn't like the guy as a Yankee fan. He knows why.
Why? Why don't we like him?
He's just bad luck, if you will.
Okay.
No, he was phenomenal on Stern. I think last year, maybe 6, 8, 10 months.
It was this year. It was before the Super Bowl.
Before the Super Bowl, especially when he did JD play-by-play when he was eating his breakfast sandwich. That was a 10 out of 10. But no, Joe Buck is great, and I'm sorry that I missed him this morning. I'm going to have to go back and listen to that. Yeah.
And another one I listened to obviously is arguably the number one podcast, which is Joe Rogan.
I thought you were going to say the Jay Carney Show.
That's number 2.
Number 2. Number 2 in the ratings.
We should start a radio
what
war
market
with
are we
Joe
in?
Rogan. Do you want to start a radio war with him?
Yes, we should. Hey, Joe, at Joe.
But I think it's important. This goes back, coming full circle with.
Yeah, where are you going with this?
Not choir preaching. But being open to other ideas. I was not open to the idea. I began being a far, I don't want to say far left, but I'm a pretty liberal-leaning guy, and I was not opening to the idea of white racism. I was always laughing at it, like that's ridiculous, because I knew that there was white privilege. But then I've started looking at like just simple people, just you'll see just different things. Twitter is an awful place, by the way. If you're not on it, don't go on it. But you'll see posts of that are just very like anti-white person, and I get like why people are doing that.
Who is posting these things? Just random people?
Just go on Twitter.
And these show up in your feed?
Yeah.
How does that work?
I follow great people. I follow everybody.
And so that's your problem.
So, but like I said, I would like to learn all the sides because I see what they're doing. I see what they're doing is they're trying to compensate for all of the previous 20 or 30 years of trying to give other people an opportunity. And I was saying like white people are bad. I'm just saying if you're sympathetic to every single person, learn their story, learn their background. You're going to learn a little bit more and help yourself. So that's a little kind of like rant that I wanted to go on about that.
Excellent pontification.
Racism in all forms.
It exists.
Is awful. No, what's wrong? Tell me. She's
shaking her head back there.
There's no. Oh, I wish that this worked.
Ooh.
Come over here.
Does it work?
Come over here. This doesn't work.
Hmm.
I could stop recording and try it. Let's try this real quick. You might have to cut it together. Let's do this. Ready? All right.
Do it real quick.
Because I really want you. Here we go. Test. Oh, there we go. We got
That's
it.
hot mic.
Okay.
Hot mic. Brianna on the sticks.
Yeah.
I don't want to be on on camera, so I'm gonna hide behind
Okay,
DJ.
very good.
Why don't you
Very
want to be on
good.
camera?
Very good.
I'm not
it's
camera
producer
ready.
life.
My
I know it's
hair's
easy
not
for
done.
two white guys on a podcast to say there's no such thing as white racism, but racism in its, and I can't believe I'm even talking about this because I did not believe in it for the longest time. But if you were to judge a person, if you were to say, I'm not going to give this person a job, or I'm going to go punch a person in his face because they are white skinned, that's not racism?
Racism
And
is
I'm not
when-
saying that I don't have any privilege. I'm not saying that.
No, I
told you we're gonna be
understand. I
controversial
completely
about this.
understand your point of view.
I'm
I
gonna
just
go-
have a problem with
I'm
the
gonna go DJ
statement
for a second.
white racism, because racism is when a majority suppresses a minority group. That is completely impossible. And what I feel like is happening is that this minority group is becoming very empowered, like Black Lives Matter, and they're finally having a voice and they're finally being heard. And whether it's through protest or Twitter or any which angle, we're being heard, and this majority feels threatened. So
No,
I feel like there's a lot of
you're right.
sensitive people saying,
right.
oh, but, you know, white racism, right? There's no such
Get her on
thing as
camera.
white racism because the majority suppresses the minority. And right now, Black Lives Matter or Hispanics, they're not the majority.
No, and I 100% agree with you. And I think I actually think that what Black Lives Matter is doing is I actually think it's good. I think it's bringing up what they want to hear, and I think it's extremely important. But and when it goes back to there's no such thing as white racism. When it comes down to, it actually doesn't come down to and I get what you're saying about having a majority against minority. I totally understand that. But racism in its actual purest form is doing harm to somebody because of their race, right?
Understood, but I think it's so quick to jump and call it racism because if any group of people understand, like, being judged,
Yep.
it is the Black Lives Matter group. So they're not
Sure.
saying that all white people are bad. They're definitely
And
not
I wasn't saying that.
No, I understand. I completely understand your point of view. They're not saying all white people are bad. I just feel like there's a selective group of white people. It's like, oh, but, you know, I'm not bad. And they're getting a little sensitive and they're forgetting the purpose. Is right now the spotlight is on Black Lives Matter and not on the majority.
It's interesting. It's on Black Lives Matter and it's on white nationalists and
Right.
white supremacists. And I think that there's a complete massive difference between the two of them. I think that obviously the white nationalists and the white supremacists are literally just saying, you know what, your skin color is different than mine.
Would you say there's a competition between the two in terms of spotlight?
Are you saying that white nationalists and white supremacists, or can we just lump them together? We'll lump them together. White supremacists, right?
What's
right,
the
versus
difference?
Black Lives
Right,
Matter.
exactly. All right, so what was your question then?
Versus Black Lives Matter. Do you feel like there's a spotlight, like Black Lives Matter is getting too much attention,
No.
so the white supremacists are like, oh, well, you know, what about us?
Yes, I do believe that is correct, and I don't think it's right at all.
Right.
I think that Black Lives Matter is coming up, and what they're trying to do is compensate for that, which is what got us into this whole mess in the first place. I think here's something that I've been wondering about the Black Lives Matter, and I'm a supporter of it, and I agree with it. Is there a point at which we say, okay, we're done, we're all even? Right? Is there a point, or is it just to have all these different groups with different ideas and agendas?
I mean, ideally, the goal is to get to the point that, like, okay, we're all even. Is that ever going to happen in the near future? I don't believe so, especially with the man that we have in power of our country right now. But in the future, I'm going to be optimistic. I'm going to be hopeful and say, yeah, it could definitely happen.
Right. Gotcha. Well, this is why I did this on purpose. I brought up white racism to spark the debate, but I wanted to get, what'd you say?
To get me all fired
To get you, not you per se, but I wanted to bring it because if we just talked about black racism, be like, yeah, it exists. It's really bad. But I bring that up because did we shut her? Can you shut that? I'm not silencing you.
No,
I'm
no,
just
so
don't just leave it be.
just turn the knob down.
Look at that. There we go. Like, we have a legit show. That was Brianna Gote. Thank you for that. And I appreciate that side of the debate too, because I've never walked in your shoes. I've never walked in the Black Lives Matter shoes. I see what they're doing. I completely understand it. I don't think that they're violent people. I think they're trying to bring up issues that we've been forgotten. We've been beaten. We've been treated a whole different way. But what I hear from a lot of, we talked about this last week, which was I hear from a lot of, let's say, older folks like my parents or uncles and aunts and stuff who were born in not really good hands, who have struggled their life, and blue collar people who come back. And when I talk about the Black Lives Matter to them, they'll say something like, I never did anything. My parents never owned slaves. Like, what is it all about? I'm like, well, they're trying to make you aware of what is going on. That's what they're trying to do. And so it's hard trying to voice this to older people that don't necessarily are involved like that. But on the flip side, I think we just all need to be careful that just because there's people that might not agree with Black Lives Matter, but they aren't racist either, right? They're just people that might be uninformed. They might have their own different opinion on things. And so the reason why I brought up white racism was to actually bring up this exact thing, because I think it went where I wanted it to go. But I do think that racism in all forms is bad. And I don't think that our president does enough to say that. I think that we're in a really interesting part of our time as being a really big melting pot of a country. But racism in all forms exists, and I think that we need to take steps to denounce that as much as we can every day. PJ, what's happening now?
What do you got going on?
Just finished my Kyrie.
Oh, the flat Earth. Oh, hold on, mic him. We're trying this. Go for it.
What do you got, PJ?
Bring up the flat Earth.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So I actually, while I don't think that the Earth is flat, I
Thank you for that.
support people that bring up the issue.
Okay.
Because I think our educational system is rigged in a way. Because
Okay.
so like people should just, what I'm trying to say is I think people should question traditional thinking, and that's actually what Kyrie Irving was trying to do. He announced that he actually doesn't think the Earth is flat yesterday. He was just trying to say that he questions traditional
Do you
thinking.
think somebody got a hold of him and was like, "Hey,
Listen.
Yeah, maybe that could
World's
actually be really
actually
true
round.
too. Yeah.
His agent said, "Hey, Kyrie,
listen, we need to lock this
Yeah.
up." No, that's good that he came out and said the world's not flat. Continue.
So I think we should just. That's basically what I agree with. We should question traditional
That's
thinking.
the piece that
I
he's
like
actually
it.
working
I
on.
like that.
Yeah.
I think from a scientific standpoint, it's always good to try and argue against a point, but also not just stand so firmly on there where you can't change your mind.
Exactly.
Where you could say, all right, fine, I think it's flat. Like Brianna, do we think it's flat, Brianna?
It's debatable.
She actually thinks, she told me today it was a conveyor belt.
I can't repeat what you told me last week.
But anyways, I think everything is up for debate, and I think it's really good from a scientific standpoint to say, what can we do to actually learn more about it? But I think it's such a non-issue that we can we just, I want to say, can't we all just agree that it's round, or no? I guess we can't.
No.
Did we land on the moon?
If there's enough evidence to prove that it's flat, I'll believe it. Why not?
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Well,
Wow.
I think there's plenty of. Wait, you said if there's enough evidence to prove that it's what?
Prove that it's flat.
Flat?
She would believe it.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I think she's serious.
But what about enough proof to say that it's round?
I think we have ample amount of proof.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But we
On
never,
Gravity.
that, yeah.
we never even thought about the other option of it being flat or rectangular. Or
But as I said, if we were to
Maybe it's a
take
hexagon.
a big balloon, float it up in the air with a non-fisheye GoPro, or a camera that is non-fisheye. Okay, I just want to put these all down.
Why don't you
and they've
tell
done this-
everybody at home what a non-fisheye GoPro is? 'Cause I'm not sure everybody is on the same page.
It's like
as
a
you.
rounded type of lens, right, Steve? Something wide angle. Anyways,
Great.
you can actually see that there is a curvature of the Earth. And how did the eclipse? Wait, how did the eclipse happen?
what if it's a hexagon?
Wait, if the eclipse happened, it would have been like
Hexagon.
a rectangle that went across, right?
It looked really round.
No, but it was Earth's.
Well, it wasn't really our shadow, was
Oh,
it?
you know, it wasn't. I'm sorry, I
No.
sounded completely.
I
It's okay, just keep
I
going. with
almost
it.
jumped in on that. I almost jumped in on that.
It
I'll be
sounded
honest with
convincing,
you.
right?
If you say something convincing enough, it's got to be right.
Sorry.
That's isn't that what Facebook's all about?
That's what Facebook's all about: sharing memes and everything. So,
That's
excellent
good stuff.
Okay. Anything else?
What else you got going on, PJ?
Yeah,
Anything new in the news?
Anything new in the news? Let's see. Not too much.
Look at that! Look at that suit top.
It is very.
Are you
stealth.
supposed to button your
Top one. Top
While you're
one
sitting?
only.
While you're sitting?
Well, that's a classy move right there.
Okay.
Yep. Yep. Keep it
You know,
keep it done when you're
If
sitting.
you got a little bit more in the stomach region, it's not as easy, but he's nice and he's nice and young and fit.
What do you think? Is that a good look?
That's great. Can you stand and show us what you got?
He's got
Yeah.
shorts on. So.
Perfect. Give us the whole thing.
Yeah.
Very
All
well
right.
done, PJ. Very well done.
Well, guys, thank you very much. This was a wonderful episode 1.
It was fun.
We talked about racism.
It was fun. Hopefully less political round 2, but hey.
But thank you to Brianna for filming this, PJ for piping it, Brianna for piping in as well, Stephen for just kind of being the overarching producer of it. We'll call you that if you want. No, Brianna's producer. Okay, yeah, you're just a schlub right there.
Schlub on the left. Schlub.
And as always, Miss Patricia handling all of our customer service questions. You might actually get the podcast at thealternativedaily.com emails. So if you want to win your Berkey, did you be careful? And I'm sweating like a pig now. If you want to win that Berkey,
All that white supremacy talk.
I had to go out there. I had to talk.
You did
about
it, man.
this.
You put your best foot forward. I'm proud of you. But tell
Was
us
that
about
bad?
how-
Am I going to
how
get a
did-
lot of backlash, Brianna? Or
I think I saved you.
oh, thank you.
I think you toed the line good, but
Okay,
I didn't
thanks.
say anything.
Thank you.
No, but tell them how to get the Berkey.
You go to get the Berkey and email us at podcast@thealternativedaily.com. Subject line Berkey. Drop us a line. Talk about how much you hate
Any
the
topics?
show. Any topics you want to talk about. But we'll continue that
How
dialogue.
much you hate the show?
Yeah, why not?
Tell us on a 1 to 10 scale how much you hate the show. 10 being awful.
As always, Matt Delando, thank
Yes,
you.
pleasure. Pleasure to be
maybe
here
you'll
with
be
you,
here
Jake.
tomorrow.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe if
We'll
we're not
have to
shut
talk.
down, right?
Yeah.
And thank you for joining the Jake.
I love it.
I can't even say it. The Jake Carney Show.
Beautiful.
Thank you guys. Have a
Thank
good
you,
one.
everybody.
Where can we find you?
Where can we find you?
Oh, where can
Megan
we
used
find
to do
you?
this. You can find us at thealternativedaily.com.
Heard of it?
You can also find me on Twitter at Jake Surfs. And Instagram. What is my Instagram?
What is his Instagram?
Jake Surfs, maybe, too? Or Jake.com. Whatever. Search for me.
Google.
And is there anything else you guys want to plug? Awesome.
I'm going to push for that MacBook Air in
In
episode 2.
episode 2. All right, guys. Have a good day. Thank you very much.